Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I am sharing a really fun thrift flip with you guys. I found a really neat piece at a thrift store that I just couldn't pass up. So if you are not following me yet on Instagram, you can find me at Valerie Aguirre, and let's get into the video. So I came across this piece at a local thrift store and they were asking $19.99 for it. The reason why it just kind of caught my eye is because of those legs. I really love the curve on those legs. It's very unique. I've never seen really anything like it. It does sort of look like a table slash ottoman, like it's the size of an ottoman, but it looks like a small table. It's very odd. So after talking with my sister, I think we figured out that it is some type of meditation table or like a prayer table, something like that. But I really love the curvature on those legs. I just could not pass those up. So it is solid wood. I'm not exactly sure what type of wood it is, but it is a very nice quality, sturdy, solid wood. So it also has kind of this little lip looking thing right on that tabletop piece. So I'm going to see if I can cut that down and get it looking a little bit more like an ottoman and less like a table. So I'm going to start by taking my Ryobi jigsaw. I use this all the time. I will link it for you guys below. This is a really great starter tool. If you're looking to DIY and do these types of projects, this is a really great tool to start out with. So I'm just going to follow those darker lines and cut down some of that excess wood off the top. Now my goal is to get it to look less like a table, so kind of shorten this tabletop, and then eventually we will wrap it to look a little bit more like an ottoman. So I just need to take a little bit off of the sides there, and by following that dark line, it makes it really easy, and the cuts don't have to be perfect. They're going to be kind of covered up anyway. So next I am taking some 80 grit sanding paper and I am putting that on my little palm sander or hand sander. This one is really inexpensive. I will link this one for you guys below. And yeah, I'm just taking off a lot of that stain and that darker look. So I'm kind of stripping it down to almost bare wood, but I want to leave a little bit of dark kind of peeking through. So I'm not taking it all the way down. I just want it to look a little weathered, a little rustic. So I'm leaving just a little bit of darker spots in there. And then for the places that are a little bit harder to reach, or like underneath that tabletop where the hand sander won't get, I will just use a piece of sandpaper and just do that by hand. Some of the curves are a little bit harder to get, but not too hard. So after I have wiped almost everything down and got the sawdust off, I am going to go in with a stain, and I just picked weathered oak. I have this one in my cabinet, so this one is kind of a standard go-to for me. I use this one a lot. So after I stained everything, I headed to Joanne's and I found this 3-inch project foam, and I used a coupon on this. So make sure you bring your Joanne's coupons. I think it made it about $22 or $23 for this piece. So I just put the foam right on the top there and kind of eyeballed or just measured it out. I wanted a little bit of overhang, just to kind of give it a little bit of overlapping, and then I was going to put batting over the top. You'll see in a minute, but yeah, I wanted it hanging over about ½ an inch or maybe an inch or so. It's all preference, but I did just about ½ an inch. And I just cut it down with a simple kitchen knife. It was nothing special at all. It did leave kind of a little bit of like a jagged end, so I went in with a pair of scissors and kind of cut off any pieces that were like hanging off or that kind of made it look a little uneven. I just kind of straightened it out a little bit with the scissors if the knife didn't make a complete straight line. So after cutting the foam to size, I went ahead and used some Elmer's spray glue, and I just found this at Joanne's. I can link it below for you guys as well. It's just a spray adhesive, so it sprays on really easy and it makes that top really kind of tacky, and then you can put that foam piece right on top, so it helps it stick onto that top piece. And then once I got all the spray glue on, I went ahead and put the foam piece on there. And remember, I did want it hanging over about a ½ inch or so. So it took a little bit of repositioning to kind of get it exactly where I wanted it. But luckily that glue doesn't set up crazy fast. So it allowed me enough time to kind of pick it up and reposition and get it exactly where I wanted. Once it was in the right position, I just kind of put a little bit of pressure on there and make sure that it has a good stick. So while I was at Joanne's, I also grabbed this batting. It is a medium size, and I think this one was about $8 to $10. So I am going to take this batting and kind of build it up a little bit. This is almost like it's doubled over, so it's actually like 4 layers of batting, and I'm just gonna staple this right around that bottom to kind of build that bottom part up so it looks more of like a solid ottoman. And I am just using my trusty Arrow staple gun. I will link this exact one for you guys. I use this all the time. If you need a staple gun, this one is really good for projects like this. So I am going to take the rest of my batting and kind of cut it down to size so that it covers the ottoman and then leaves a little bit to wrap underneath. Don't forget, you have to wrap this batting underneath, so you're going to want to leave a little bit of excess. So I actually kind of doubled it over on the bottom, so it looked really kind of full and thick, and it looked like one solid piece. So I'm glad that I built up that part underneath, because it kind of allowed it to look just more of solid and not real layered, if that makes sense. And once the batting was all in the correct position, I just wrapped what I had remaining around the bottom and then stapled that down. And you can cut off any excess as well that's hanging off. So I had this kind of creamy white looking linen type fabric at home, and then I also picked this up from Hobby Lobby, and this is like a brown boucle. It's really, really cozy, but it's a little bit darker than what I was hoping. So I ended up going with the creamy white linen, but let me know in the comments below which one you guys would have chosen. So I am just going to take the ottoman now and put it right in the center, kind of allow some space on both sides. Remember, you're going to have to be wrapping it up the sides. So I just want to make sure that there is enough material to go all the way around. And once I got the material cut to size, I'm just going to wrap it on those smaller sides and kind of give it a good staple, just one to kind of hold it in place, and then we'll go in and do the rest after. But I just kind of like to do this as like a starting point and kind of pull it a little bit tight, not too tight. So I am just going to go around and kind of wrap it around the longer sides now, and I leave the legs for the very last part. Those are the trickiest parts, so I will explain how I did those. So I am taking the material and wrapping it right up and under the sides there and stapling it down. If there is a lot of excess material around the leg that's kind of in the way, you can make a little vertical cut like that right around the leg, but you want to make sure that your fabric is kind of tucked in so you don't have that raw edge. It looks a lot cleaner when you can kind of tuck it under versus having that raw edge. So once I have the sides pretty much stapled down, it's just that leg part. So I will kind of cut almost like a square shape right around that leg, or almost like a C. You can round it off or square it off, but you're going to be tucking it underneath anyway. So I just tuck it and make sure that's a nice straight line. And I just like it to look as clean as possible, so I make sure that all of those raw edges are tucked in and under, and then I'll wrap it around one way and make sure that your directions are going all the same. You don't want to kind of go in all different directions. So I do the same thing for every leg. So I do staple that one clean edge kind of right to the leg, only because I'm going to wrap that other piece around and you won't see it. Normally you don't want to show exposed staples, but in this case it's going to be covered up, so you can kind of get an idea here how I am going to be wrapping that leg. And I repeat this process with all of the legs, and like I said, try and keep all the same direction and all of the legs wrapped the same way. To get that little piece to stay, I just used 2 little finishing nails and just nailed them right into the side there. So those went in really easy and they hold that kind of thicker upholstery really well. I cut off the excess fabric on the bottom and kind of made sure that all of those staples and little nails, everything is in there really well so it holds. And yeah, then it was on to styling. Because this is a really neutral piece, it kind of fits almost anywhere in my home, which I love because we can move it around a lot. So I just threw a little basket and a pillow right on the top there with a little throw and kind of give it a cozy vibe right by the fireplace. I am looking at some new fall decor, so changing things around and getting some new stuff in and kind of arranged and ready for fall. So that is exciting to bring a new piece like this into our home, and it looks so gorgeous. Those legs are just so unique, and I really, really love this piece. I hope you guys enjoyed this thrift flip, and with that, we will catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching.